Hello again. Welcome back to Hangar 51. For you guys that are normally on my channel, you know I'm all about RC airplanes and anything RC. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. Today we're going to talk about 3D printing. And is it right for you? Now, there is a little bit of airplane content, and I'm going to get that out of the way right now. The reason I bought a 3D printer and was interested in 3D printers is because I want to print airplanes. There's the connection. Yeah, there's a company called 3D Labs, and I'm sure there's others too, that you can download a file for like 40 bucks and print an airplane and then go fly it. And they have several on the market right now. There's an F-86, there's I think a ME-109, a P-47, P-38, that are all 3D printable and flyable RC airplanes. So that's the connection. So if you're one of my regular viewers and you want to stick around just to see what I'm talking about, I'm only going to be talking about the printer today, not about airplanes or how to print airplanes, just the printer. Okay? So you may or may not want to watch this. But if you're new to the channel and you're here because it says Ender 3, should you buy one? Welcome. Glad you're here. I'm going to go over my experience with this printer and why you should buy it. Or why you shouldn't buy it, depending on the kind of person you are. So let's just jump right into it. So the reason I bought it, listen, I've been looking at 3D printers for 4 years now. I was out at the flying field. My buddies and I were racing our little drones. And we were breaking things like antenna mounts and stuff. And one of the guys went online and bought some pre-made ones on a 3D printer. And they were really cool. And we said, oh, we should buy a printer. And I had said to the guys, well, let's all go in on it, and that way we're only about $100 a piece. That's $500. And then one of the guys says, well, whose house is it going to be in? And I said, well, I don't know, whoever's printing something. It doesn't have to be glued to one house. We'll just move it around, whatever. Well, I guess they didn't like that idea, and they shot it down. That was 4 years ago, and nobody's done anything since. So I went on GearBest and was looking for a drone that I had bought. I wanted to see if that was still available and what the price was. And right on the front page, boom, Ender 3, 3D printer, $187. What? $187? Holy crap! Now I had already, like I said, 4 years. I already had decided that I was going to get the Creality, either the C10 or the C10S, or is it the CR10? I don't know, one or the other. But I had already decided that was the printer I wanted. I wanted something from Creality. I think I just like their products. I was pretty, after watching all the videos and all the experts talk about it, I was pretty certain that was the one I wanted. So I think my cat's over here, fooling around. Anyway, so 187 bucks, I'm like, holy crap. So I jump over to YouTube real quick, Ender 3, all the videos come up from all the experts, and they all agree. Best printer for under $200 by far. Some of them even said it prints better than their $1,000 printers that they have. It prints as good or better than those for 187 bucks. And that was all I needed to hear, and I bought it. So if you're on the fence like I was for 4 years, and you still haven't bought a printer, listen, it's not going to get any better than this. You're not going to get the quality of this because from the best I can tell, this has got the exact same extruder head, the stepper motors, everything that the CR10 has. It's just smaller. And the build plate is still big enough to build what I want to build. It's 230 by 230 by 250 or 260 tall. I had conflicting reports on that. But that's enough volume to print the parts I want to print. So, no problem there. So what I'm going to do is, so again, just if you're on the fence, you just need to buy it. It's there's just no reason not to spend the money now. My cat's right here, and he's she's probably going to jump up on the table here because she just likes to get in the way. So it's just not going to get any better than this. This is 3D printers are evolving just like computers these days. You know, in 3 months, the computer you just bought is obsolete because it's something better. Well, it's the same thing with these. They keep making them better and cheaper, but to go below $200 and get any quality, I don't think it's going to happen. I think the fact that they're still using all the quality that they used in the CR10 and the Ender 3 and lowered the price to less than half, I think that's as good as you're going to get. So if you can buy it for under $200, buy it. If you don't see it at $200, just wait. It'll go down. Just, keep checking. GearBest especially, every 2 days they usually have a price change. So go back to GearBest every 2 days, and when it's finally on sale under $200, buy it. I'm telling you, just buy it. So here's the reality of what you can expect. Now, I'm not an expert 3D printer. I'm a newbie like you. I just started doing this, and I've had a lot of fails, but I'm getting there. So, and this is the part they don't talk about. They give you all these settings that didn't work on mine at all. On none of the settings that they talked about, the extruder head being at around 205 degrees and the bed at 60 didn't work for me at all. Okay? I had to put my bed at 70 degrees and my extruders at 240 to get good results. And I'm going to go over that. But, so they give you some white filament to start with. A little tiny bit. You can't really print anything. And I started trying to print this little fox character. I wasn't going to do a benchy because I didn't want to do the benchy. But failed print. I had 2 more fails, and then I finally got a full fox about this size, but the top of him was all broken up and lots of voids in it. But you could tell it was a fox. I mean, it was there, but it wasn't a good quality. And then I was running out of the white, so then I switched over to the blue, and with I put it on a raft. Okay, that's what this big circle is a raft. And I put it on a raft, and the rafts were sticking to the bed, but once I got rid of the raft and started to print these vases without a raft, it wouldn't stick. I had fail after fail after fail. And that's what all these are. Fail, 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 and then I started making some good prints. But most of my fails started out with they wouldn't stick to the bed. Like this one, for instance, stuck at the beginning and then it came off, and then the extruder head was just dragging it around so it popped loose. So that was a fail. I had to stop that print. And then this one started rolling up. I don't know if you can see it, but it's curved. It was on the bed, but it was printing, and then it started to peel up. One side was peeling up. So I stopped it because no point in wasting filament. It's not going to work. This one, the same thing. And then went back to a raft, and the raft was sticking, but I don't want the raft on the vase, so I upped the temperature to 7 degrees. And then I had some start to print. They were doing a pretty good job, and then this one was starting to do what this one did. It was going to fill the whole thing with, it's a vase. It's supposed to hold flowers, and it's filling in. So I had a setting wrong, so I had to change that. This one, same thing, was doing the same thing. And then this one was okay, but the layers aren't sticking together. I noticed that right away, that the layers are not. It was not enough heat. This was at like the 205 degrees, maybe 220. Not hot enough, so it wasn't sticking. So anyway, you're going to experience a lot of fails. That's just part of it. They don't talk about that, but I mean, maybe your results will be different. But I'm just warning you, giving you a little heads up, that you can expect to have a lot of fails before you start getting prints, that you're happy with. So be prepared. Okay, you're going to waste probably half a spool of filament doing, learning the settings. And the Slicer software, so far, alright, so I haven't spent any money on anything so far. Slicer software is free. I downloaded ImageMaker and Cura. So I have those two. They were free. You can also get a 3D CAD program for free. I forget what the name of that one, but there's at least one. I think there's more than one, but there's at least one that's free. So if you want to design your own stuff in CAD and then convert it to a slicer so that you can print it, you can do that too, and you don't have to pay any money for any of that. So the expense is oddly enough, the expense is not the printer, it's the filament, because you're going to go through tons of it, and it roughly $30 a roll or a spool. It adds up quick. You're going to be if you look in the background of the guys, the experts, they've got shelves and shelves and shelves of filament that they're either buying or they're getting sent free with a printer. Some of it I know they get free, but they have to buy some of it. So they've got hundreds, if not thousands of dollars worth of filament on the shelf because there's so many different kinds of filament for different kinds of applications. And I don't know if you've seen it or not, but one of the guys printed a vase similar to this. Well, actually, it was more similar to this, and then he crushed it because he made it out of that flexible filament. So he smushed it to the thing, let go of it, and it snapped right back into a full vase again. So you can print it out of that. This is PDL. This is the most common, from what they say. The most common stuff is PDL. I don't know what brand this is. This is the stuff that came with. I bought it at Gear Best with the printer. I have a feeling it's not very good PDL just because of one of my settings and the results I'm getting. So I probably won't buy another batch of that. I'll probably buy somebody else's brand. And that's another thing. Every brand's going to be different. Everything you print is different. If you use PDL versus PVC or ABS, the settings are going to be different for everything you print. Either the flow, the temperature, the speed of it, the amount of flow, and the temperature all have to gel together before you're going to get a good print. And that's what takes time to learn. And your printer, like I said, my temperatures are completely different than everybody else's, so their settings aren't really helping me any. They're giving me a place to think and go, but I still have to do practice prints before I get a good print. And that's what some of this is. So I decided, now, I've got a link in my description below of a video I want you to watch. This guy is one of the experts that I talk about, and he's going to talk about the flow, the heat, the radiant heat. It's a very helpful video to make you understand what's going on. Now he's going to give you settings for doing miniatures, like I was trying to do here. His settings may or may not work for you, and believe me, the slicer you use is completely different too. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. So whatever slicer you use, you could put the exact same settings in two different slicers and get completely different results. Like I said, there's a big learning curve here. And if you're not prepared for that, or if you don't have patience, then maybe 3D printing's not for you. Because this takes a lot of patience and a lot of frustration before you finally get some success that you're happy with. So here's a file, and this has got to be a problem in the file, and I'll tell you why. It can't be a mechanical thing with my printer, because if this imperfection, and I hope you can see in camera here, was a mechanical imperfection, then it would be down here on this one, not up here in the exact same spot. Now it's the same file. I used the slicer software to scale it up or down. I actually scaled it down. Scaled it down to this one, and then I made it a little bigger and took the raft off of it. This one's got a raft, so I took the raft off and did it without the raft and made it bigger, and I got the same imperfection in it. So in the exact same spot, but in the exact same spot relative to the file, to the size, not mechanically height-wise. They're at different heights, but it's in the exact same spot on the file. So I think there might be a problem in the file. So I changed the file to go on with it. So again, more fails, but I'm learning. Each time I make a fail, I learn. So this guy's going to explain to you what's going on. You know, the flow, the radiant heat coming from the extruder, the high temperature. It's going to explain it where it really makes sense. So I really think the video will help you. So when you're done with here, go watch that video. I think you'll really gain something from it to help you make better prints. So I was having a lot of problem with when I took the raft away, getting it to stick to the. I knew she'd be here sooner or later. To get the get my prints to stick to the bed. So I'm using this 3D or this 3M. It's contact cement, and what I do is I spray it on the bed, and I take my putty knife and I just smooth it out real fast. Just because when the bed heats up, it makes this stuff sticky, and everything has stuck to the. I mean, it sticks so good that I literally have to scrape it off the bed to get it off. But I'm okay with that. Honestly, you know, as long as it stays on the bed and I can finish a print, you know, I don't mind having to scrape it off the bed. That's fine. At least I know it's going to stay there. Now, eventually, I'll find a better product than that. You know, I'm going to try the glue stick. The guys recommend the blue. Like I did the blue tape, that didn't work. And I've cleaned everything with alcohol and other products, brake clean. I've tried everything I can think of to clean the bed, and I just can't get it. This particular filament, whatever brand this is, I can't get this stuff to stick to the bed. So that's why I went to this. This makes it stick. This will stick anything. You'll have to work at it to get it off a little bit, but it's well worth it to get finished prints. So here's so let me start with some more fails. These two are the same vase as these, not this one. This is a different vase, but it's a fail. I printed these two in Cura. I took the file, I put it in Cura, I sliced it, and then I printed it. And there's twice as much filament used in this one than this one with the exact same settings. I mean, this thing is rock hard. It's tons of I mean, it's solid, and it's stuck real good, and the walls are really thick, but there's all kinds of imperfections in it. It won't hold water. It's got holes in it everywhere. You know, there's places in it here where there's voids. So if you fill it up with water, the water's just going to bleed out of it. So now I've only done these two in Cura, and I quit because I'm limited on how much filament I had. I don't want to spend more money for filament right now. I'm on a real budget right now, and this is just not a priority. So I quit with Cura and went back to ImageMaker because I have more time in ImageMaker, and the results are very different. So, but this was my two Cura fails, and the Cura is leaving strings inside it. I mean, it's just full of strings, all the way down to the bottom. It's just full of strings in there. And this one's the same way. I forgot to turn off the fill top and bottom, so this started to fill the top. This one did too. I cut it out, but I wanted to see that it's amazing that it can actually bridge this much space with nothing holding it up. There's nothing under here, and yet it was still printing a top. You know, it was filling the top. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing what these things can do. It really is. I can't tell you. This is just remarkable stuff, the way that this works. So, one of these, and these probably look great on camera, but these are almost all of these are fails. Okay, so this one, I didn't have the temperature hot enough. So, I mean, it looks just like this one, but this one's stuck together, and this one you can just tear the layers apart. Literally, you could just poke it, and the layers come apart. You know, all the way down to the bottom. And there's voids in it. I don't know if you can see this on camera, but there's voids here that, again, water's just going to pour out of it. So this was a fail. Um, and I believe my temperature was only about maybe 225 on this one, and it's just not sticking. And then there were these ripples showing up. And I don't know what was causing that. I've got these ripples in it. So I made another adjustment, and I went to, I think these three. Actually, no, one of these. This one, I think. Yeah, this one. I think you can probably see it. This one's kind of milkier looking than this one. You know, this one's got more shine, a little more transparent. This one's a little milkier. This one, I upped the temperature a little bit. It's stuck together pretty good, but it didn't. And it still has some wrinkling, and there's a couple of voids. Pretty sure this will hold water up to about here, and there's a couple of voids here that it will probably leak. But it's solid. I mean, it's not pulling apart like this one. This one, like I said, you can literally take your fingernail and just separate the layers. It wasn't hot enough, not enough heat, so it's not sticking to itself. So I upped the heat to here, and I got a better print. This is a full print now. Still had a little bit of the rippling in it, but you know. This one, I would consider this my first successful print, because this I'm pretty sure will hold water, and it came out pretty good. And then I upped the temperature to 140 or 240 on the extruder, and these two prints are beautiful. They're transparent, they're very even. The rippling effect is almost completely gone now in these two, and these two are identical, so it's repeatable. They came out just absolutely beautiful. I'm very happy with these. These I would consider good enough to sell. I mean, I could sell these on eBay. I could put a disclaimer just to cover my butt, for fake flowers only, not watertight. You know, no guarantee against leakage. You know, sell them that way so that people, you know, if they want to put water in them, because I know they'll hold water at least probably to here. It's up here. There's a couple of voids that may leak, but I think, you know, up to here it'll hold water. Both of these. Now there are a couple of what happens, and listen, it's gonna happen. You can't stop it. You know, as the filament's coming out of the head there, the extruder, you know, sometimes the filament will just kind of like curl up on the end, like when it gets, and a little piece of it will get hung there, and then it'll get redeposited later, in between a layer, and you'll have a little imperfection. There's one right there. I doubt if you can see this on camera, but there's a slight imperfection right there, where one of those little pieces came off the extruder and got trapped in between the layers there. Now, the filament was hot enough to glue it all together, but if there's the slightest little void right there, water is going to seep out right there. Now, that's an easy fix. I mean, literally, I could mix up some 5-minute epoxy on a toothpick and wick it into there, you know, and then wipe it off with my finger, and that will probably fix it. It'll be watertight again. So it's an easy fix. But these are the first two. I've printed more. I gave a few of these away. And after I got to this level, I started giving them to people. I took them out to the flying field again, you know, fly airplanes. And I took them out to the flying field, and I was showing everybody, and I explained I want to print airplanes. Here are some things. And a couple of the girls there were just bonkers. Oh my God, can I have that? That's so beautiful. Yeah, okay, here, you can have it. So I gave a couple of them away, but these are successful prints. I'm very happy with these prints. And then I used the exact same settings. Now that's 70 degrees on the bed, 240 on the extruder. I don't remember what my layer thicknesses and flow were set at, but it matched the temperatures, and I got. Now these took 5 hours to print. Now, again, you can print them a lot faster. I'm sure somebody's going to print this vase in 45 minutes. So, but the only way with my filament at least, I'd have to really crank the heat up more and increase the flow to match the speed. So if I put more flow, more heat, more speed, I could probably print this a lot faster. Again, I'm still in the very early um, uh, learning how to do this. So, but to get, I still have about a quarter of a spool left. I would say I probably wasted a third of a spool with all the fails, maybe a quarter of the spool before I started making printables that I could, give away, sell, that I was proud of the results. And then I took the same, well, actually I had two files of this. The one was a low quality image, and then I had there was a high definition image of the same. And that's the beauty of the slicers, guys. The slicer will let you scale it to whatever size you want. So after I got this close with these two, and then got these results, I thought, I'm going to try this other. So what I did is I took this, which is the same file as this, and I scaled it up as big as I could get it. I went to the 250 deck height, which there seems to be some question on the size of this, conflicting. It's 230 by 230, but one site said it was 250, and another site said it was 260. So I went with the 250 to be safe, but I've got room to go. So I think the 260 is probably correct. So I'll probably make changes to make these even bigger, so I can get another 10 millimeters taller. So it'll go to 260. But anyway, so I scaled this up as big as I could get it this way, and then I unchecked keep proportional, and I stretched the bottom out a little more to try to maximize the bed usage, just to see how it would come out. So I increased just the width, I unchecked the proportional, and stretched out the bottom, so it's a little fatter than this. I don't know if you can tell that. Probably not, because this one never finished. I don't have the top for comparison, but anyway, that's what I did, and it came out beautiful. These are absolutely beautiful, and they're reproducible. These two are identical in every way, including the faults. Sitting here looking at this, it looks perfect. It just looks perfect. It's transparent. The transparency is nice and even, smooth. It's just beautiful. But I took it out in the sun and realized that it's full of imperfections. Listen, I'm not an expert. I'm guessing, but to me, what it looks like is happening is it shrunk as it cooled, and it pulled the layer, the filament apart. And it didn't pull it apart. I don't think it pulled apart the layer. I think it's going across the layer, and it just kind of like ripped the filament. So there's these tiny little splits, shaped. They're microscopic, but they're there. So it's not going to hold water past here. You can put water to about here, and then it starts to, separate, and there's all these little slits. But like right now, you cannot see them. I'm looking at this, and it just looks perfect. There's no detection of that at all. But I took it out in the sun, and the sunlight showed me the imperfections. So I'm still not perfect. I got a little bit more learning to do, but man, are these beautiful. These really are beautiful. And these came out really nice too. So I've got settings now that I'm really close. I don't know what I have to do to get it perfect. Got to play with it some more. But that's where I'm at. And like I said, the initial investment under $200. Listen, you can't go wrong. Even if you decide it's not for you. You know, you buy it, you play with it, you use a roll of filament and say, nah, I don't like it. Listen, you can sell this for 100, $150 easy and recoup, you know, over 50% to 75% of your money back. So you're only going to be out anywhere between 37 and 87 bucks, roughly. You know, is all you're going to lose. You're going to get the rest of your money back, and then whatever you spend on a roll of filament, 30 bucks, and you'll know. You won't have to think about it every day. You know, do I want a 3D printer? Should I get a 3D printer? You know, you're going to end that. You're going to finally know, yeah, I tried that. It wasn't for me. Or, God, I'm so glad I bought this thing. This thing's cool as shit. It's a blast. You know, and you'll finally be off the fence, and you'll know. So, you can't. It's really at that price point, you just can't lose. You know, give it a shot. You know, if you decide you don't like it, like I said, you're going to get most of your money back, if not all of it. And you'll know. You know, and if you decide to keep it and keep playing with it, well, then you'll have fun with it. But the investment's going to be the filament. You know, the initial 187 bucks was nothing. When I start buying rolls and rolls of this, at 30 bucks a pop, you know, that 10 rolls, that's $300. If 10 rolls of that, and I go through 10 rolls of that in a week, printing this kind of stuff or my airplanes. They say, I think they say you'll use about a half a roll printing one airplane. So you figure 2 airplanes a roll. You know, I start printing some airplanes, and I expected to actually print them and take them out to the flying field and sell them. I figured, you know, guys that don't have printers, you know, I could print one, you know, I'm going to pay 40 bucks for the file, and I can use it as many times as I want. So that's a very small investment. You know, if I have 10 airplanes, it's $4 a plane I've invested in the software or the file, and then a half a roll of filament is 15 bucks. So that's $19. I'm sure I could, after I glue the plane together and take it out, I'm sure I can sell it for 100 bucks. So, you know, make a little money, make some nice airplanes for guys, you know, on request. You know, hey, can you make me an F-86? Sure, no problem. And you know, at least 100 bucks, maybe 150 bucks. I don't know. We'll see what the market bears as far as printing them and selling them. Not trying to make a business out of it, but if I can make a couple extra bucks, hey, who couldn't use a couple extra bucks? You know, if nothing else, if it just keeps me buying more filament and keep playing with it, it is really all I'm looking for, is to recoup enough money to pay for what I'm doing. You know, if I can play with the thing and sell a few things to recoup enough money to buy more filament, I'm happy. That's really all I need, is to keep me going. So that's kind of the goal. But like I said, at this point, if you can get this for under 200 bucks, and I know you can, if you can't, just wait. It'll go on sale. You know, they'll put it back on sale. GearBest is perfect about that. I mean, every 2 days they're doing a price change. So if it's not under 200 bucks, wait 2 days, check it again, and then as soon as it goes, you know, 27% off or whatever, and it's 187 bucks or whatever, buy it. Just get one, start playing with it, get involved, try it out, see if you like it, and if you do, you're in, and if you don't, like I said, you're not going to have any trouble selling this thing and get your money back. So, and then you'll know. You'll stop worrying when you go to bed every night. You know, do I want a 3D printer? Should I buy a 3D printer? You'll already, I did that. I'm done with it. Didn't want it. Didn't like it. Wasn't for me. Or, wow, I'm so glad I bought this thing. This is a blast. And you'll know. So, all right, guys, that's all I've got. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of this. If you're into RC, definitely come on back, because I'm pretty big into that. Been doing it for 46 years, so I've always got something I'm playing with RC. Mostly planes. But I have it all. So questions in the comment section below. Again, I got a video link in the description. Go watch it. It's definitely going to help you with your settings and understanding why you have to have the heat and the flow and the speed, you know, congealing to get good prints. This guy explains it pretty well, so go watch that video. I think it'll be helpful, and we'll talk to you later. All right, have a great night. Bye-bye.